Hi everybody, I'm Taz Thornton. Today I want to talk to you about authenticity in your content and people who are afraid of being trolled. Now, this week I have a Facebook reel that's going viral, and by the way, Facebook reels are huge right now. If you're not using them, you probably need to be. I have a reel that's going viral. It's all about neural pathways, and it's aimed at people who've been to a really dark place and every now and then fear they might be going back there because they've built that neural pathway, and they can very quickly go from feeling okay to feeling at the end of the world. And amongst goodness knows how many really positive comments, people saying thank you so much for this, there was one person who, for whatever reason, was clearly triggered by my words. They'd taken the reel out of context, they hadn't read the post that went with it, and they just lashed out on the thread. I was a dangerous old bint, apparently, who needed to be shut up. Now, ordinarily in the past, I've always said you don't need to delete everyone. I did delete that comment simply because there were so many people being helped on the thread. I didn't feel it was good for them to have this thing in the middle of the safe space we'd created. But the big thing to bear in mind is that I didn't take that personally. I didn't go into anger. I didn't go into judgment. I didn't go into feeling upset. I took a step back, broke my state a little bit, did something different, and just recognized that this person was probably going through a world of hurt on their own. If they're taking the time to engage with the thread about depression and they'd gone into some detail about what was going on with them, then they weren't in the right place to hear those comments. They hadn't come through the other side of it yet, and this was aimed at people who come through the other side. They hadn't got the help they needed yet. They were talking about struggling to get the help they needed. They were not in a good place. So I removed that comment. I sent love, I sent compassion, a great deal of understanding. My goodness, my heart went out to them, because what state genuinely must they be in to be lashing out at a stranger on Facebook when, I don't know. But I want you all to remember that too. I speak to so many people, particularly those who have been called into a career that's to do with helping, supporting, inspiring, motivating others. I hear so many people saying they are not sharing their truth. They're not putting themselves out there because they are afraid of getting trolled, or they're afraid of somebody disagreeing, or they're afraid of triggering someone. You know, some of you will have seen I've got my kind of flippant trigger warning t-shirt. But on a serious note, I genuinely don't believe that we can go through life avoiding all triggers. Anything can be a trigger for someone depending on what they've been through. And although I absolutely do not subscribe to the social media school that says we should deliberately upset people to boost the algorithm, I hate that with an absolute passion. We do need to take responsibility for our words, and we need to make sure that we are not deliberately triggering people. I also don't think we should be keeping quiet and not sharing parts of our story just in case, particularly if the way we've overcome that, the lessons we've learned along the way, could help some other people. For me, my duty is to help those people who are in the place to hear that message and who want to start stepping up and growing their lives, whilst to the best of my ability trying not to deliberately upset anyone. Now, the thing to remember, that's one person who has been unpleasant on a reel that last time I checked had gone up to something like 20,000 views overnight. I don't know how far it'll go. It might slow down soon. You can never tell with these things. One negative comment amongst goodness knows how many people saying, oh my God, thank you so much. Oh, wow, this has really helped me. They're the ones I want to focus on, not the one person who didn't like what I had to say or didn't want to hear it at that time. Doesn't mean I don't feel compassion for that person. It doesn't mean I wouldn't want to help them if they're in a place where they were able to ask or show up for me in such a way that I could communicate with them. But that's not going to stop me helping all the people who are ready. So I want you to please bear in mind. I remember having a conversation with Pam Cashel. Sometimes says do a clubhouse room with me and Asher and Pam. When it comes to building brand, Pam and I are on a very similar page when it comes to helping people with LinkedIn. And I always remember us having a discussion about trolls and Pam saying to me, and this is really stuck, it's a message that's out there all the time, but the way Pam described it really just stuck. I thought, that's it. The percentage of people who are not going to like you stays the same throughout. As your audience grows, as your visibility grows, that percentage does not shift. But when you're first starting out and you don't have many followers, you've got a couple of aunties, your granny if you're lucky, and a nat, you're not going to notice, because that number isn't going to be big enough to even show up on your virtual pie chart, as it were, your metaphorical pie chart. But as your numbers grow, then that tiny slice of the pie that's reserved for the haters or the people who don't like you or want to troll you, and they're not always the same thing, by the way, that's going to become more visible. So please remember that as well. Your percentage isn't growing, your numbers are growing. And as you grow in visibility, you're going to notice more people who don't like what you have to say. And it's at that point, usually, when people start backing off. They'll grow to a certain point and then go, oh no, everybody hates me now. I'm getting people that don't like me. I better stop. No, you keep going. That's just that slice of the pie. It hasn't changed, but now suddenly they're on your radar. So again, compassion, understanding, recognize that it's not you. It's not about you. So long as you are doing everything to the best of your ability, your intention is pure, and you are not putting anything out. Sometimes you might say something and go, oh, or I really shouldn't have said that, in which case apologize, delete it, whatever you need to do to make right. But 9 times out of 10, for the majority of the time, if you're putting good, clean information out there, somebody not liking that or somebody feeling triggered by something vaguely innocuous is not a reason for you to stop. Now, just before I wrap up, let me just share something else that I'm hearing more and more and more from people who, again, have been called into the career arena that's about helping others, whether it's counseling, coaching, therapy of some sort. The amount of people who are afraid of putting their story out there, of showing how far they've come, because the training body or the officiating body has told them you are not allowed to share any of yourself. You need to keep very, very clear boundaries. To a great extent, I would love to just take that idea and just tell you all it's a big, fat, steaming pile of ridiculous rubbish. What we need to be aware of, though, is the difference. There is a massive difference between offloading all your crap to a client and when you are not in session and you are using your social channels. You're getting up thinking, how can I serve today? What message is going to put out there to help people today? Who needs me to bring my A game, awesome game today? Who can I help today? In those messages outside of therapy sessions, sharing your story in an empowering way. I went through this. This is how I overcame it. These are some things I learned that might help you. If you're thinking that there's no hope for you, look, this was me a few years ago and now I'm here. Or when I went through this challenging time, this is how I grew from it. And these are the tools I've now developed and you're welcome to use them. That kind of post, you absolutely need to be sharing that. You need to be sharing more of you, because it is not slapping up some badge to a governing body or a training certificate. They are not the things that are going to bring you clients. The things that will create clients for you is relatability, is you being a real person, of you learning how to powerfully step into your vulnerability and use it in an empowering way. And no, that's not coercion either. That's just about sharing your story. Let me tell you, I used to not share a lot of my story. And those of you who followed my story will know that I accidentally put out a video, goodness knows how many years ago. The accident was in not hitting friends only. And all of a sudden, overnight, I had gone from not telling anybody that I'd been through depression, been through breakdown, tried to check out a couple of times because I thought it might damage my new career as a coach, through to getting loads of inquiries, loads of media coverage, loads of opportunities. I can trace it all back to that one video where I stopped hiding, took off the masks and said, this is me. The really important point, though, the caveat to all this, is that when you share your story, it cannot be just a big cathartic splurge. There has to be a reason. That video I put out, if anybody wants the link to it, then drop me a line. I'll send it to them, or go find it on HuffPost or on some of my social channels. The reason I believe that video ended up going viral and rocket fueling my career as a coach is that I didn't just say, oh, I went through depression. Oh, I went through domestic abuse. Oh, it was awful. This time I tried to check out. Oh, when I was on antidepressants. What I said was, I went through all these things. And today I genuinely believe that both my biggest failure and my biggest success were failing to take my own life. I'm so pleased I failed, because if I had been successful, I would not have experienced this or this or this or this or this. And now I have all of these very real experiences alongside all of my training and expertise that will help me get people to that next level. I am the living, breathing proof that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not just some git with a torch. I want to now be able to use my experiences to help these people and these people and these people. And that video left people in the place of possibility. So that's what you need to remember. Yes, share your story. I have some really powerful techniques that will help you. If you need some tips on how to share your story in a powerful way, in a safe way, how to get your personal brand out there, which is not your fonts or your colours, it's who you are, soul deep, right down to your DNA, why you live, why you breathe, what gets you out of bed in the morning, that's your personal brand. I've got some really great tools that will help you learn how you can start sharing some of those stories to show your authenticity. And remember, there is a difference between demonstrating authenticity and saying I am authentic. You don't tell people you are authentic, you demonstrate it. That's why that word has got a bit of a poor rap. I've got some tools that can help you do that in a safe way and in a sane way. If you want me to share any of those with you, please drop me a line, whichever channel you're listening to this on, or watching this on, or if you're watching on replay, drop me a line and I'll see what I can do to help and pass you some of those tools. But please talk. Please, if your governing body or your training body has been telling you not to ever share your story, that's wrong. There are certain circumstances where it should never be about you, it's about the client. But in your own social streams, your newsletters, your blogs, your articles, maybe bits of PR, maybe features you write for newspapers, magazines, the stuff that you put out there to help, to serve, that absolutely does need to share some of your story. It gives you credibility, it gives you relatability, and it helps people to trust in you above all others. But more than that, it helps people. And sometimes it will save lives. So find a way to tell your story in an impactful and empowering way. Always leave people in a place of hope, a place of positivity, a place of possibility. And please, please, please don't let fear of a small sliver, and it is, in the scheme of things, those people who don't like your message, it's a small, tiny slice of the pie. Please don't let the fear of that stop you from serving the people you are here to serve. And if the fear of that is stopping you, then that's a little flag, that's a little pointer to say, hey, here's something for you to work on your confidence, work on your self-authority, work on your self-esteem. Don't take that as a red flag that you should stop doing things. Instead, take it as an indication and a little signpost to some of the places that you need to do a little bit of self-work on, or work with somebody else who can help you. So thank you so much for watching. If you're watching on replay, drop a hashtag replay in the comments. If you've left me a message, not everyone, because I'm doing this through StreamYard, not everybody's name is going to show up, so I might not be able to reply or see who you are. So please do drop me a message, drop me an email, taz@tazthornton.com, or drop me an email if you're watching on LinkedIn, or a message on Facebook. Wherever you're watching, just drop me a message and I will come back to you as soon as I can. I can't always reply straight away. If I'm really, really busy, sometimes my team will scan my messages first for me. But provided that you're not a robot and you're not just spamming me, I will always come back. So thank you for watching. Thanks for joining. Lots of love.